what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So you can see this EF Civic we have behind me, except this isn't just some normal one. You can tell by the big silver thing up front. This thing is a turbo Civic. Now, this guy brought the car to me to get some work done, you know, redo all the charge pipe, bumper bar, etc. Except the last request he had is that his exhaust is just a little bit too quiet. So, lucky for him, I happen to have a part laying around here, and it's from the guys that sent me the muffler on my most famous or popular video, the cheapest muffler for like under $100 or something like that. I think I titled it. So this is from, I want to say they're called Spalab. This is an electronic exhaust valve. So this, although a little bit of a bulkier part because you got the motor drive here and then you got to have the Y pipe, so it is going to be a little bit tough to fit this under this car. But I think I found a spot, so it's going to be right after the downpipe. But the guy's main concern, it's not his daily driver, so he just wants a little bit more noise. Right now it's got a full 3-inch downpipe, and that bottlenecks down to a 2¼ inch Yanaka exhaust. The car sounds great, it's just quiet. And he wants a little bit of choo-choo noise, so we're going to install this at the bottom of the downpipe, and then we're going to give him some more choo-choo noises just at the flick of his little key fob. And then eventually he's going to wire it in, try and find a way to wire it into the ECU at some point to where he can get it with throttle, and then it'll open up at, say, 5,000 RPM at 60% throttle. But that's not for this video, that's on his own time. So in the meantime, I'm gonna get this thing racked up on the lift. We're gonna have to drop the downpipe, and or the mid pipe, I'm sorry, and we will get this thing welded in place. That's what the car sounds like right now. Sounds great, has a really good exhaust note, but he just needs something a little bit louder. That little bit of smoke, yeah, he knows. His turbo has been rebuilt like twice. He just, I don't know, whatever. That's not the point. Let's get the car up on the lift. Now with the car up in the air, this section here, so this is his little test pipe section, as you would call it. So here's the downpipe, here's the exhaust starts. This, after looking at the rest of the car, like I said, these cutouts are a little on the larger side. So this is gonna be the most compact area I can, you know, fit this piece in. So we do still need the flex pipe. So I'm gonna go ahead and unbolt this whole section now. And basically, I do have to go to the store and pick up a 2.5 to 3 inch reducer. So while I wait for that, I'm gonna at least take this apart and start getting this stuff cleaned up.
Now he's working off the deck, and once he works it off, he owns the place. So now he actually sleeps in the shop.
All right, got that mid pipe off. So just to, you know, kind of test with this a little bit. Thinking best way to do it, really gonna have to try and suck this up towards the flange a little bit. It does have to be faced this way because the shift linkage is in the way over there, so it's gonna have to kind of sit like that. So it's not a whole lot lower than the exhaust was before, and the car really isn't that low to begin with. He doesn't plan on going all super low, so he is well aware of the you know, the clearance here. But yeah, try and tuck it up a little bit like that. Yeah, we're not looking too bad, so I'm gonna start trimming this guy up here and see if I can't figure something out. So, piecing this together a little bit. So I did have to change out his flex pipe. I just went to take his flex pipe off that other piece, and the whole thing kind of just fell apart. So thankfully I did have some flex pipes in stock, so I got him hooked up with a nice fancy new one. So right now I'm working on building the pieces. So for this flange here, this is actually a 3-inch flange, this is the 2¼ So what I'm doing is this piece will go directly to the flex pipe, because this is 2.5-inch pipe kind of crushed down to the 2¼ inch flange, and then right here I have to go from 2.5-inch to 3-inch. So what I have here is the end of this piece. I'm going to cut past those slits that you can see right there, and basically what I got to do is I tacked it to this straight piece so I could feed it in the saw, because you can see there's a little transition piece there. The little transition's 2.5, so that's where it's going to attach to the pipe itself, and I'm going to cut it up here where it's around 2 3/4, and then I can try and flare it out a little bit. I don't have a tool on hand. I'm actually waiting on one to get delivered sometime in the next week. So in the meantime, we can try and shape it a little bit on the vise. We just hit it, rotate it like that, and keep hitting it, and it'll flare it out, hopefully enough for us to kind of fake the funk on that flange. But this is a good little trick. So I needed just this top section, but it wasn't long enough to feed into the saw. So I just tacked it to another piece, 2 tacks, and I'll throw it in the saw just like that. We're starting to get to the welding portion of this stuff. So again, because I don't have that expansion piece that I need, we're gonna kind of work with this, and you know what, we're gonna fake the funk a little bit. So right here you have the piece that I just told you I cut. Try and get some better lighting in there. You can see it's kind of set in there, so it's tight on the one side, has some gap on the other. So basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start welding on this side, get a few tacks on the other side, and then I'm gonna go throw this thing in the vise, and then we can take the hammer and like a chisel and just shape it to fit what we need. And then from there I will tack, or I'll weld this onto this end, because we're going in flow basically like that. And then from there I will add the flex pipe to that piece, and then all we'd have to do is build a little piece to go from the flex pipe to the other flange, and then we'll be solid. So let's get this thing all tacked together and start test fitting. Not the prettiest. It was pretty oily. I tried cleaning it up pretty good, but working with what we got here on hand. So I'm gonna let that cool really quick, and then I'm going to then weld it to this piece next. All right, so on to the next portion for this one. The rotation of the flange does matter. I couldn't just slap it on here because obviously this has to be clocked accordingly to fit. So we are going to attach that right about there, and then just make our Sharpie mark. Readjust that, get it as close as we can. Gosh, this is still spicy, so be careful. Okay, now that we got our marks made, now we can pull that back off and tack it up, or weld it. So I needed a spacer to fill the gap between the two flange and the flex pipe, so I just cut this little piece. This does have a slight reduced side, so I can cheat a little bit. So this skinnier side here on the left is gonna go inside the flex pipe a little bit, so it'll kind of butt me up more to that ridge there. Help me fake the little bit of an angle I need, and obviously that's just gonna sit just like that. So I'm gonna go ahead. Now I will weld this together, and then I can add this to the flex pipe, and we are done. Then we just gotta wire it up. Well, it's all bolted in, everything fits pretty good, so now we just got this single wire here, and that's going to plug into our little harness, and that harness is just going to run to basically a direct 12 volt. Ideally, you want to hook it into your fuse box, but for this case, I'm not wiring it in for the guy, I'm just installing it. I will let him wire it, but we will test it by using this battery we got over here on the ground. Should be able to just run some wires to it and see if it works. So this is the little harness that they give you. They give you plenty of length. So thankfully I chose a good spot on this car, so that way I can feed it up right behind the subframe, right into the firewall where he has easy access. And then this is your box right here. So it is literally just power and ground. So they hook you up. It's a little built-in inline fuse. So it's not too bad. And then you just mount your box, plug in your cable, and then here is your key fob for open and close. So let's go ahead, test this thing, and make sure that it actually works. So you can see the valve is now open. Let me just hook the battery back up and we'll close this up really quick. Upon opening the battery, or the fob, there's no battery in here, so get a battery. So it looks like it was the 2032 size battery. So now let's see if it works. Ready? Yep. Yep. Alright, so key fob does work. Get yourselves a 2032 battery before you try to set this all up. And again, this doesn't have to be all fancy. It is stainless, so I did TIG weld it and use some stainless pipe to make the new mid pipe because that's what the guy was asking for. But if you buy this, you can absolutely just go to your local exhaust shop and have them weld this up somewhere for you. So you guys heard how it sounded before with just the normal pipe in there. I'm going to lower the car down a little bit since it's not wired up. We'll have to fire the car up with the valve open. We'll raise the car back up. We'll hit the button a few times and we'll let you guys hear how it sounds. So this remote actually has like a 2-click option. So if you click it once, it either opens or closes it halfway. Click it a second time and you close it. So here's once, halfway, twice, nice and quiet. That's it. So I'd say this thing works great. And you know what, we'll give you guys a few revs of each. I'll lower the car down. He's got the battery working on the cart now. And we'll hear how it sounds. Well, you know how it sounds close. Let's open it up. That's pretty sick, not gonna lie.
Closed, it doesn't even sound boosted.
Oh, I know, it's wild. Well, there you guys have it. This thing sounds awesome now. I'm sure the guy will be plenty stoked. It's a lot quieter than I thought. I knew the turbo would keep it quiet, but I mean, it's a Honda. So usually those things are a bit of a screamer, but yeah, I mean, it sounds great. Shout out to my buddy Isaiah for being my wiring technician for this segment of the video. But if you guys want to scoop one of your own, I will have a link in the description or pinned at the top comment where you guys can scoop one for yourself. But I gotta wrap this bumper bar up so that way this car can get out of the shop and this guy can take it home and go rip around and enjoy it. So if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. If you're new to the channel, hopefully you have considered subscribing by now. And if you want to help support the channel, I do have merch and such in the Big Cartel. I also have a Patreon, and in the Big Cartel you can also find my SD Fab products, from bumper bars, working on some SD Fab merch and such. And yeah, that's the best way to do it. So thanks for hanging out with me here today, and we'll see you in the next one. So do what you love, forget about the rest, and it's smoky in here.